If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment below. Hey Photos family, today we are talking about the same overarching timeline of the hero's journey, which if you found that circle of events for a hero's journey, we're talking about the challenges and temptations of the hero. But within those challenges and temptations, the mentor or mentors appear. If these are mentors that you're not adding as visual elements to your photograph, then I'm going to create a picture or an outline for them in the framework, such as these are skilled artists, photographers, perhaps videographers. You love the key frames of some art director or film producer, and you want to be able to produce the same effect of their key frames in your photographs. These are people with skill, intuition, or some understanding and being able to create these effects, these looks, and the detail that you want to add to your photography. And they give you help, information, and things that you can go back and learn from time to time. They are why I'm saying there's the skilled individuals in visual art is for this way to distinguish them from guardians and to distinguish them from helpers. I'm also distinguishing them from some supernatural aid. That difference in calling the skilled workers mentors is, I guess, in some very real ways, what photographers of history have meant to me. I shared those photographers that made an impact on me and what I find valuable and what I appreciate about what they have done for other photographers and artists. Very impactful on our world today, and actually may very well be the cause that we have things like YouTube and platforms for artists to express themselves and to give content and value that a lot of us have learned from. So that's about half of the video on mentors that are not a visual aspect of our photography. So if there is a mentor to your subject that is a visual interest in your photograph, it has to be something more than support. It has to be, I would say, impactful, so impactful that you are able to leave a majority of that object, well, I was going to say off, but out of frame. In other words, you see part of it come into the frame, but the whole thing does not enter the frame entirely. If I were to bring my hand into the frame entirely, then I would be blocking part of my face. And at this point, I'm trying to create an effect that my face is the subject. So that's why my hand is in the frame, giving some context to the mentor. But the mentor is still out of frame, so that it is not distracting or taking away or overshadowing my face. In some aspects, there's a difference between what I just described as my hand that entered the frame and what I was showing here with part of the pen. The pen is a helper in this situation, and how that's distinguished here is because I'm using the pen and the pen is in my hand and my hand will use the pen. So the pen is a helper, not a mentor. My hand is the one that affects the motion of the pen to write. My hand over here is the one that affects the highlighting of its edge to create contrast against the background, which is also created against the contrast of the shadow of my face. And so there's some visual interest of my hand, but it is not in focus. So my hand out here gives you a context that there's something framing, but the focus comes to my face. I hope that helps make some sense. There's a screenshot I took of one of the, is it a film poster, I believe? I believe I saw a film poster of a young Anakin in the desert before or after a pod race. I don't remember which. It may actually be during. Either way, his shadow is cast against a huge boulder in the desert. And the giveaway in that poster is the shadow of Anakin is really the silhouette of, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, it's what, over 20 years old now. If you haven't seen that film of the Star Wars yet, then I pity you. But it's so widely seen as a series of movies and now some TV shows that are starting up. I'm surprised you haven't seen this episode, but his silhouette cast against that boulder is Darth Vader, the silhouette of Darth Vader. And so they're giving a snapshot to the future of who Anakin becomes. Now, that mentor is not a distraction, but it is greatly giving context to the experience of Anakin, what he goes through, his darkness, really and truly the abyss he goes through. But it also shows some of his mentors as to who gave him experience and understanding of the life as a Jedi, who raised him up from that child that he was, who naturally was using the Force in one way or another, and who gave him the training and the discipline to be able to use the Force, and then how his training was overcome with his own emotion. You see how Lucas took this whole picture of a hero's journey, spun that around Luke Skywalker, who was spun around in context of Anakin Skywalker, who was spun within the context of one of the galaxy rulers of Padme. I mean, you see the brilliance of these writers and how they're using the hero's journey to craft this story. Use some of these things to think about the mentors in your life, or the mentor that you're going to use which draws attention to your subject and is a pivotal piece of your photograph to build that character and build a history, build a rapport, while creating perhaps leading lines or contrast and a greater context to your image in the final cut and edit. I would love to go on, but that's about all that we're going to do here for mentors. Mentors have a great effect in your photograph if they're part of the visual content. If they're not, then they still have a great impact because of how you compose your photograph. The lighting, the contrast, the way that you set your camera settings, the angle at which you take the photograph. I mean, quite seriously, when I was taking some photographs in the commercial studio where I worked, I had a very unique perspective on some of the products because, and this was not the catalog shots, those had to be fairly standard and uniform, but I'm talking about some of these specialized images. When I was taking these items going for sale and the images we were doing for them, I was so out of the box at times. The photographs I originally took were not appreciated. Not necessarily that they were great. They probably did stink. But I came at it from a perspective that not a lot of people could relate to. And I had to learn how to add these helping elements, learn how to bring in a mentor that added context without taking away the attention to the subject. so that it added value, it added content, and it added meaning for the person viewing the photograph. So there's so much more I want to tell you, but there's so little time that I have in each episode. Maybe let me know down in the comments if you want to hear more about my experience and how I learned to use mentors visually. And we call them props, but some of them are stronger props than others. And some of the props may not even really make it into the photograph's final edit. They may be cropped out, they may be underlit, and to achieve that final shot, that prop may be removed. So let me know in the comments down below. Do you want to know more about mentors in photographs that are visual props or not? Give us a thumbs up so that we know that this content is on par and we're going in the right direction for you, and that other people can see this and help their photography level up to the next level so that they can pursue this greatness in their journey one photograph at a time. Thank you so much. If you're not yet a subscriber, we'd love to add you to our Photos family. Just do so by subscribing. Click on that subscribe button down there and turn on notifications. If you can't, let us know in the comments down there too. Thank you so much. God bless.